Wow, I'm delighted to be here today at TEDx. Fantastic. Imagine, voices unbound. What a great theme. I love it. And yes, I'm here to tell you that imperfection is the key to excellence. No, I didn't make a slip of my tongue because of my age. I'm telling you, imperfection is the key to excellence. And you're thinking, really? You want me to be imperfect? Let me tell you how that works. I'll tell you from my own life story as an entrepreneur. You know, TED Talks. So when does TED listen? That was a funny cartoon I saw. Both listening and speaking have become such an important part of my journey, as it will be yours after you listen to this, that it becomes very important, oxygen to our life to be able to do this. So my first lesson was I needed to give myself permission to start to speak before I was perfect. When are we perfect? Only after I've crossed every T and dotted every I am I perfect. How many of you feel that way? I want to go to an event. I want to do some public speaking. I want to be able to appear in that show. But wait. Let me lose some more weight. Let me get my voice right. Let me get the right text, and then I'll do it. You know what? That boat would have sailed by the time we do all those things. So what do? I did it this way anyway. I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and my job, I thought, was to help foreign direct investors come into India and set up their shops here. So for instance, here is the team from BMW when they first came to India. And my job was to explain the business culture of this country, understand the business culture of Germany, and then be able to connect the dots so that they can be successful here. So what did I do? I just got started. So can you also just get started? Get started by defining what looks like good enough to you. Once you decide this is good enough, just begin your journey. Once you do that, you can be intentional, you can grow and grow and grow, and that becomes how you become a brand standing for excellence. Let me explain that one more time. Imperfection has a little imp in the beginning of the sentence, right? That imp is that little naughty, mischievous character that you've read about in Enid Blyton books, maybe, sitting on your shoulder and telling you, you're imperfect, you can't do this, you can't do that, now you can, now you can't. You tell that imp to become silent. And what do you do instead? You start and you improve in what you're doing. So the imp moves from this shoulder of imperfection to this shoulder of improvement. Where can you do that? What is your goal and mission in life where you think, I need to just get started, and then you work on improving it, because you will then be brand excellence. So here's where I want to share the second story with you, because once I put the permission to get started, I had to also give the permission to myself to trust my own inner voice. And this has to be done in a noisy world. How does it work? So I had the opportunity to do business culture interactions with Jeff Bezos, the leader of Amazon India, Amazon World, right? The founder who was in India. So what do? You feel, oh my God, that's larger than life. How am I going to do this program? Once I started the program, it was clear that this customer of mine wanted to know about retail behavior. So how do you teach retail behavior inside a room like this, with all the mics and lights and the people around and even bodyguards to fill the space? Difficult, right? So I had to speak up, trust my inner voice, which said, hey, call him to come sari shopping with you. And that's what I had to do. I did it. I said, can you come with me to a sari store? Let me show you retail behavior in India. And what would have happened? He could have either said yes and jumped in the car and come with me to the sari shop, and I could have shown him retail behavior, and that would be trusting my inner voice. Or he could have said, are you crazy? I'm not going to go to any sari shop. That was the risk I had to take. So when you trust your inner voice, there is a bit of risk you must take in whatever journey you take on. But the truth is that when you succeed, that choice you made will be very important. And so I jumped into the car. Jeff agreed, by the way, wonder of wonders. And when we went there, this flexible nature of my program became famous. That if she wants to teach you something about retail, she'll take you sari shopping. And that's something that built a relationship with me and my customer long after the interaction was over. And so what does this imperfection work help you build? It helps you build brand excellence. You're known for being excellent, for being customer focused, for always being open to learning, and for having agility and flexibility in the way you execute whatever you take on that you are doing. Once you get known for all these things, you will be asked to come again and again to do more of what you anyway wanted to start doing. Isn't that a great story? My third story is how can I get permission to myself to go to my how do I get permission to myself to own my space without apology? So to own my space without apology means I take on what I have to do, I know I'm good at it, and I'm not double beating myself on it. I'm not apologetic. So here the third story was when I was asked to take my book, which had become a bestseller by that time, Doing Business in India for Dummies, and was invited to serve on the Harvard Women's Leadership Board, the top university of the world, right? And it was a little bit awe-inspiring to go do that. But I realized that I could easily own my space if I went there, and I would benefit because I could take back the gender intelligence that Harvard was teaching and bring it to our own country of India, where we have 700 million women waiting to learn this. So look at our sessions today. And that's where the seed of champion woman was born. We were able to say, let's go into India and champion all our women, whether it's in colleges or corporates or communities. And let's build a community of trust where the women are able to learn whole brain leadership and well-being with mindfulness. Many of the very important topics that are not being taught in college, in the corporate world, or even at home. And the woman self-transforms after these sessions. Now, I would never have done that if I had not expanded my boundaries. I was happy being a Mumbai mommy to a Mylapore mommy with an entrepreneurship in Chennai. But when you expand your boundaries and you go to the Harvard Square, you realize that you have something to learn and give back to your own country. So please expand your boundaries as the third step, because that leads to excellence in scale. Today we worked with 8 lakh women and girls. And that's what you'll do. Whichever area you take on, you will expand your boundary and you will go leapfrogging into the future. So that's all it is. Give yourself permission to do 3 things. 1, don't wait because the path won't appear in front of you. You have to speak and go into it. So what do? First, you speak before you think you're perfect. You tell that imp of imperfection, shh. And you tell the other imp of improvement, you speak up. You take the space without the apology and you keep improving. And where does it lead you? The third one, when you trust your inner voice and don't listen to the noise outside, you become impressive. A third imp comes into your life, and that impressive person that you become is what stands for excellence. So you can go from exhausting perfection to empowered progress. And all the time, all you did was start with a little imp on your shoulder. So believe me, imperfection leads to excellence. Thank you for your attention.